Hello and welcome to Panorama from NTA Network Center, Jos. Plateau government marks National Tuberculosis Testing Week with sensitization in rural communities. Team of researchers from the National Root Crops Research Institute in Plateau State on potato blight. Key players in the health sector advocate exclusive breastfeeding for healthy growth of children. I am Felicia Dalio Samaila. Don't forget, you can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page NTA Network News, Twitter at NTA News Now, and Instagram NTA Network for updates. The federal government is collaborating with Sun Africa, a United States-based renewable energy and infrastructure company, towards delivering 1,000 megawatts of solar power generation plants in multiple locations across Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari, who received the team, said the rapid integration of solar power into the country's energy mix is a critical pathway towards increasing access to electricity by the underserved as well as unserved communities. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
The Sun Africa's unique offering under the Biden administration's Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment Platform is not only to provide utility-scale solar solutions, but also infrastructure that will impact both generation, transmission, and distribution of power across Nigeria. The government-to-government backed initiative between Nigeria and the United States, the project to be financed through the U.S. Exim Bank, is in tandem with the federal government's commitment towards generating 30,000 megawatts of power by 2030, with 30% from renewable sources.
The Biden administration is very keen to engage with Nigeria. It's a giant of Africa. It is a natural ally for the United States under the PGII platform. There's $600 billion available in total. So you can imagine what is available for Nigeria moving forward.
Nigeria needs this. U.S. also was absent from energy markets in Africa for many years. This is no longer the case. We come as partners, not to sell any technology, but to partner with, first of all, Niger Delta Power Holding Corporation, to work hand in hand and create something that is immediately needed for Nigeria.
The solar solutions they are proposing shall be utility scale. This means that it can be integrated to the grid, which will add to our base load. I hope this will result in a more resilient power sector providing energy security.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who appreciated the U.S. consortium for its interest in Nigeria's power sector, restated the commitment of his administration towards improving energy access, creating jobs, and enhancing the nation's industrial concerns.
Government has embarked on several reforms aimed at revitalizing Nigeria's energy sector. Our energy transition plan includes the rapid integration of solar power into our energy mix, aimed at improving Nigeria's energy access to unserved communities across the country.
Some of the reforms include the Power Sector Recovery Program, the Nigeria Electrification Program, aimed at enhancing energy access to remote communities, and the Presidential Power Initiative with Siemens, meant to achieve an end-to-end alignment across the electricity value chain.
Initiatives like these will go a long way in developing local capacities through technology transfer and relieving transmission constraints through the generation and the distribution of electricity in the local distribution companies franchise area, making offtake easier. I means to note the technology transfer content embedded in this initiative, as well as the employment generation potentials.
The Ministers of Finance and Power, President Buhari said, are under instruction to ensure that the project is realized towards achieving net zero emission by 2050, even as he looks forward to receiving regular updates on significant milestones in respect of the Sun Africa project in Nigeria. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The deployment of technology has been identified as critical to mitigating the country's socio-economic and security challenges. This, experts say, can only be achieved through advanced technology acquisition and domestication. Lydia Sampson reports that the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, has inaugurated 3 critical committees to fast-track Nigeria-Czech Republic technology transfer. Her reports.
Sum of 250 million Czech koruna, which is approximately $10.5 million, has been allocated for research by the government of the Czech Republic for collaboration and bridging the technology gap between Nigeria and the advanced countries of the West. The fund is also meant to facilitate Nigeria's transition to a manufacturing economy. The Delta II program is uniquely designed to catalyze technology transfer and mobilize positive interventions and investment among private sectors and relevant stakeholders in Nigeria and Czech Republic for technology advancement. Vice Chairman, Presidential Implementation Committee on Technology Transfer and Information Exchange between Nigeria and Czech Republic, and the Chief Executive of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Professor Mohammed Sani Haruna, said priority areas of the MOU include biotechnology and pharmaceutical research, agricultural and food technology, plus mining industrial development are part of economic diversification focus of the present administration. With the codename Delta II, the program is the cooperation model of Technology Agency of Czech Republic running from 2020 to 2025.
The unique component of this bilateral relationship is the integration of private sector, so that whichever technology we are prospecting, whichever research we are involved in, there is a private sector or a company that is participating, ready to take the products or the output to the market.
We have the theoretical, knowledge and analysis, but at the implementation stage, it becomes a problem. Now, this is a real opportunity to really make the difference.
In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And to education, state government-owned tertiary institutions benefiting from TET Fund but have not been given account of subventions allocated to them have been given 3 weeks to do so. Chairman House Committee on Tertiary Education and Services, Aminu Suleiman Goro, said this during the committee's oversight to TET Fund. John Yaku has details.
Of a legislative oversight is to ensure probity and accountability of public expenditure. This precisely is the reason the committee is giving this order.
We have a responsibility to ensure that all funds collected from the federal government are deployed for the purposes for which they are provided. And we cannot be certain if institutions are refusing to respond to requests, legitimate requests from the committees. And to that extent, through the fund, we have given them a last warning to respond. Otherwise, we may consider severe consequences for such defaulting institutions.
We are going to communicate to them as long as public funds are being used and they are TET Fund projects. These are the committees that oversight us. They have access, they should have access to those projects to inspect them and have access to information about how they are managed.
The Executive Secretary of TET Fund, Sonny Echono, while appreciating the National Assembly for their cooperation, told the committee that there was a drop in remittance collection in 2021, but with the promise by the federal government to increase its funding, this will improve quality of education, as he promises an open, independent evaluation of activities of TET Fund. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
Away from education, breast milk is said to play a vital role in the nutritional needs and early development of a baby. As such, every 1st to 7th August is set aside annually to create awareness on the need for the 6 months exclusive breastfeeding of babies. The report. Step up for breastfeeding, educate and support is the theme for this year's celebration. It is aimed at encouraging, educating and galvanizing support for nursing mothers to adequately breastfeed their babies, as breast milk is said to play a very important role in the early development of a baby.
Mothers need to be encouraged at their antenatal clinic that breast milk is the best food for the baby for the first days of the baby's life. So 2 years and beyond, the baby can go on breastfeeding.
The place of exclusive breastfeeding can never be emphasized. The first 6 months, the mother is expected to give feed on demand.
As part of events marking Breastfeeding Week, some mothers were rewarded by the Jos University Teaching Hospital, JUT, having met the criteria for exclusive breastfeeding. Baby Odera Eze, who weighs 5.1 kg at 1 month, 2 weeks, emerged winner. Second position went to baby Daniel Agwom, weighing 8.95 kg at 4 months, 2 weeks. And baby Adonais Eche as third position, weighing 7.75 kg at 4 months.
And the name of our winner for the day is Adera Eze.
It's because I know the benefit of exclusive breastfeeding, and I feed on demand.
I'm the most happiest person today. The secret behind this is antenatal. When the child is crying, immediately after every second I used to breastfeeding.
Head of Department Nursing and the acting chairman Medical Advisory Committee both applauded the nursing mothers for paying attention to the nutritional needs of their babies.
The babies I can see now, they are looking very good. Breastfeeding is very important, it is very necessary. It helps the baby. It even develops their mental intelligence and everything.
We salute your courage. We salute what you have done for us and for the children to come.
Lactating mothers were further advised to avoid alcohol, caffeine, and tobacco, and consume milk-producing food like pap, soya milk, and legumes, among others. In Jos. Plateau State Ministry of Health, in conjunction with stakeholders, has taken a TB motorized campaign to some parts of Jos North local government area to create awareness about TB as part of activities marking National Testing Week taking place nationwide. Bilkis Unuhu reports.
The TB Testing Week campaign in Plateau State aims to create awareness as part of efforts to increase TB case findings among people who are vulnerable to developing active TB and provide preventive treatment and proactively prevent further transmission of TB in the communities.
And also to determine if they have the symptoms, which is cough of more than 2 weeks duration, weight loss, night sweats, and also low-grade fever. So people with these symptoms are the people we screen for tuberculosis and enroll on treatment. So we move along with a vehicle that has a public address system, and then we create awareness in that manner while the screeners are stationed at a point.
For the Ministry of Health, the National TB Testing Week would afford them the opportunity to improve on case finding, ensure more screening for TB, provide treatment to those infected, and in the long run ensure the reduction of TB cases. The turnout is highly impressive as people are making frantic efforts to get tested. In Jos, for reading.
We have in the studio Program Manager, Plateau State Tuberculosis and Leprosy Control, Dr. Maxwell Joseph Chiblik. Sir, you're welcome.
Okay.
Okay, let's begin this way. Sir, tuberculosis is one of the deadly diseases. Briefly shed more light on the situation in Plateau State.
In Plateau, normally we report cases quarterly.
Okay.
So I'll give for quarter 1 and quarter 2.
Okay, go ahead.
In quarter 1, we have about 881 cases. Then in quarter 2, 963. That brings a total of 1,844. And that is huge.
Sure, it is.
Given the fact that one patient infects 10 to 15 people in a year, that's why this disease has been with us from time immemorial, and it has refused to go. So that's why we're going into the communities to look for the diseases, because if you treat, you break the chain of transmission.
Okay, now on Wednesday this week, you marked National Testing Week in Basa local government area. What necessitated that awareness?
Okay, we have partners that we work with.
Okay.
The ones that went to Basa was KNCV, is one of our partners. Then the one in just north is Breakthrough Action Nigeria. And they help us, KNCV helps us in outreaches, Breakthrough Action in motorized campaigns to look for TB cases in the community. As I've said, one patient infects about 10 to 15. So if you don't treat, if you don't identify and treat, it keeps spreading in the community. And with that, we will not see the back of TB. But with this will help a lot for us to try and end TB.
Okay, apart from those measures for the awareness, what other steps are you taking to reduce the level of infection in the state? Okay. It's quite high, you stated earlier. So what other measures are you taking to reduce it?
Let me give a few.
Okay.
Like at birth, give children BCG vaccine. That's a measure. Then the treatment, the medication itself will reduce the number of infections and then transmission. Then those diagnosed, we do what we call contact tracing to trace close contacts of whoever is diagnosed, and then if it's negative, we place him on preventive therapy. Then if it's positive, we also treat and then trace too. Then we are increasing the number of sites that give TB medication. That's DOTS expansion. That's what we call DOTS expansion. We are increasing that too. Then the media awareness is very important for us to give information, because what you don't know, you won't be able to do anything about it. Then infection control, like in our health facilities, we give health talk to people about how to prevent the infection. If you're coughing, you use handkerchief, face mask, or you cough into your bent elbow. Then in the hospitals, we do what we call triaging. That's anybody that is observed to be coughing is quickly fast-tracked to see the doctor, so that he doesn't stay with other people and then spread the illness to them. Then ventilation, we encourage ventilation too, because when there's enough ventilation in a congregate setting, that is where people are gathered, it tends to blow the organism out, and sunlight kills it too. So with enough ventilation, the concentration in the confined space will be reduced. And then we also have health financing and domestic resource mobilization. And the government has has given us counterpart funding. We bought motorcycles for our TV supervisors to aid their movement in finding the cases.
Okay. Quite interesting. Now, what further advice will you give the public?
Go out and get tested. It's very, very important for us.
Okay.
Important because the treatment is free, the test is free. So everybody should go out. If you're coughing, more than 2 weeks. But if our HIV patients, whatever the duration of the cough, we presume them to be TB cases, then we test them and then give them medication, which is free.
Okay, thank you very much. The program manager, Plateau State Tuberculosis and Leprosy Control, Dr. Maxwell Joseph Jublik. Thank you so much for coming on Panorama.
Thanks.
Panorama will continue after the break. Stay with us.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Thank you for staying tuned. Governor Ben Ayade is commending President Muhammadu Buhari administration for striving to meet its constitutional obligations through various social investment interventions in Nigeria. The governor stated this when he received in audience the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, who was in Calabar to flag off grants distribution to vulnerable groups. Paul Abel reports.
Who outlined other social intervention programs by the federal government, states that her visit is to flag off the distribution of 20,000 naira each to over 3,000 vulnerable beneficiaries in Cross River State.
This is a program geared towards poverty reduction, social protection, and social inclusion of our citizens. This is a one-off grant to our vulnerable citizens, which we give every year. The 20,000 naira one-off grant to this very a special group of people.
The primary purpose of government is the welfare of our citizens. So welfare, security is the primary purpose. And God has ordained you to fulfill a very critical purpose and to manifest our concern in practical impact.
The minister, who was also commended for effectively implementing President Buhari's policy on economic empowerment, is spearheading the flag off in different states across the nation. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development will continue to collaborate with those in the agricultural space to ensure food security in the country, just as the ministry promises to ensure the country maintains its position as one of the 5 ranked nations in the World Food Production Index. This is coming from Mahmoud Mohamed Abubakar, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, while speaking on the strides and achievements in the Nigerian agricultural sector. State House correspondent Jide Onifadi reports.
The commitment to developing agriculture by government is not in doubt, as government both at the national and subnational levels see agriculture as antidote to poverty, food insecurity and unemployment. Featuring at the weekly executive briefing of press at the presidential villa in Abuja on the achievements of the administration, Mahmoud Mohamed Abubakar, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, says even though there were interruptions as a result of COVID-19, Ukraine-Russia war and security challenges in some parts of the country, all posing threats to the agricultural sector, the short-term interventions and the long-term plans of the federal government are yielding desired result.
If not because Nigeria is so committed and resilient, the COVID, the insecurity, and now Russia and Ukraine would have dropped us below the belt.
The minister explains further some of the actions being taken to support players in the sector.
The 2081 number commodity aggregation cartage processing centers and storage facilities that were constructed, the total number of rural roads.
Minister Mahmoud says the country is also getting support from international authorities.
It is my hope that the recent agreement between Nigeria, UN, Turkey, Russia, and Ukraine on the export of grains through the Black Sea port of Ukraine will lead to a drop in the price of commodities in the international market, which will in turn ease the inflationary trend on the price of food in the country.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In a bid to address the challenge of potato blight, team researchers from the National Root Crops Research Institute, AMUDIKE, are in Plateau State to investigate and profile lasting solution on how to eradicate the disease. Farida Nelson reports.
The potato blight is posing some challenges to its growth and overall output. This development informed the visit of a team of researchers from the National Root Crop Research Institute, AMUDIKE, at a meeting with the Commissioner for Agriculture. It expressed concern over the alarming rate of potato blight in the state and promised to come up with a lasting solution after the research. The team called on farmers to apply all the measures suggested at the end of the research to eradicate the disease from their farms.
We have outlined measures, short-term measures, medium-term measures, and the long-term measures. So we will go around and see the outbreak itself. We interface with the stakeholders, the state, then before we now know where to start.
Plateau government says the state is concerned about the situation, hence the invitation of the team to know the cause of the challenge and proffer possible solution.
There's still a lot of boost because of the potato value chain support program that were brought in because of the excellences intervention or initiative and our own intervention that led him to go and scale facility that kind of training. 150 acres were cultivated in Plateau State, specifically in 9 local government areas. 52,000 hectares were affected. 200 farmers were also affected.
The team later visited farms in Barkin-Ladi, Mangu, and Bokos to ascertain the level of damage. In Jos, Farida Nelson, NTA News.
That has been Panorama today. Remember, be a star. Join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. Many thanks for watching.